Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Due to COVID-19, Committee of Adjustment public hearings are being conducted virtually by electronic means through WebEx Webinar, an online digital platform streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. Participants who registered in advance will be able to make their presentations to the committee using WebEx Webinar, which is moderated by city staff. Anyone wishing to view the hearing can watch it on YouTube. Participants who have registered in advance will be connecting with their computer, tablet, smartphone, or telephone and have the option of participating via video or audio only. All participants are automatically muted on entry. When your item is called, each participant is unmuted by city staff, one person at a time. We ask that you mute your devices until you are called on to speak. Those participating by video appearance will be temporarily upgraded to panelist when your item is being held. During this time, your camera will be enabled. You will only be visible during your 5-minute allotted speaking time. At all other times, your video will be disabled and you are reinstated as an attendee. Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. Members of the public and applicants are not allowed to use share screen or any other panelist controls during a video appearance. City staff will remove you from the panelist role if you fail to respect this instruction. For all those who are waiting online, please ensure that you have called in with the phone number that you originally registered with. If you call in with a different number, you will not be able to speak on the item. To ensure audio clarity, I suggest that you do not use the speakerphone function on your telephones. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. My name is Alan Smithies and I will chair today's meeting. Joining us on the panel today are Ron Hunt, Asif Khan, Paul Kidd, and Nadini Sankar Peralta. City staff are also present: Simon Lamb, Emily Greco, Sam Mozignani, Daphne Davis, and Alex Chu. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw that apply to property, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone attending today who wants to receive a copy of the committee's decision must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address because Committee of Adjustment and the T-Lab will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the committee's decision, it may be appealed to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, T-Lab, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the committee's decision. The hearing procedure is as follows. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant will proceed with their presentation if desired. When the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak on the item. The committee may ask questions and or take the matter into the committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, is given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching the 5-minute limit. When addressing the committee, please state clearly your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters described in the application. The applicant or agent proceeds first and will make their presentation to the committee. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. To ensure that a revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes, the committee may decide to defer the application if it is substantially revised. Then individuals either in support or opposed to the application are invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent has an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the previous speakers. This marks the end of discussion on the item. The application is then taken into committee for a decision. I'll just ask, are there any panel members here today who have a conflict of interest they'd like to declare this afternoon? Okay. Mr. Secretary Treasurer, I do have a conflict on item number 32, which is 656 Oriole Parkway. The neighbor's solicitor at 654 Oriole Parkway is Airden Burles, and I have a family member who is employed by that firm. So I will step away from the chair during that particular item. We'll now proceed with the
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
Requests. Oh, I'm sorry.
For that item, we will need to nominate a chair for that one.
Pardon me?
We should have a chair. We should have one of the members.
Okay, I'll just ask. Can I have one of the panel members to volunteer to take over the chair for that particular item number 32? Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Okay, we will go back to our agenda. We are on deferral requests. I have item number 19, 44 Donegal, and the agent is Albert Yerushalmi. Are you there? Mr. Yerushalmi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, yes.
Good afternoon.
Sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
My name is Albert Yerushalmi. It's 34 Pheasant Valley Court, Markham, Ontario.
Okay, thank you, sir. Can I ask the reason for the deferral?
Yes, in regard to the session we had before in the morning, we would like to revise to assess in light of the objections that have been forwarded to the city to assess and to redesign the entire project.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker?
Mr. Chair, what item we have in front of us?
I'm sorry, Mr. Khan?
Excuse me?
Sir, what item we are discussing?
Oh, item number
1944
1944 Donegal Drive.
Thank you.
I'll go to the next speaker on the list. I have a Jeff Cattell. Are you there? Mr. Cattell, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes.
And we concur with.
Yes. Mr. Cattell, can I get your name and address again, please?
Jeff Cattell, I'm representing the Leaside Residents Association.
Okay.
And we would confer.
Thank you, sir. Do you have an objection to the applicant's request for a deferral?
No, we would support that.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Being none, we'll go to the next speaker on the list. I have a Kenneth Wantz. Are you there, sir? Mr. Wantz, are you there?
Kenneth, I could see you on the call. However, I'm unable to unmute you as you have not connected your audio device to the call.
Okay, well, what I'll do is I'll have to hold this down. Oh, Mr. Wantz, are you there? Mr. Wantz, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Can I get your full name and address again, please?
It's Kenneth Wantz, 46 Donegal Drive.
Thank you, sir. Do you have an objection to the applicant's request for a deferral?
No, I do not.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this deferral request, please? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would move a deferral sine die on item 19 to allow the applicant to further discuss with city staff.
Thank you, sir. Someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Sir, your application's been deferred to the next available meeting so that you can revise your application. As in your previous application, I strongly suggest that you discuss this application with city planning, transportation services, and the abutting neighborhood. Thank you, sir. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
We're now on item number 22, 8 Ridge Hill Drive. I have 3 people registered to speak. Salvatore Crimi, C-R-I-M-I, is the agent. Are you there, sir?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. I am in attendance.
Thank you, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
It is Salvatore Crimi. Address is 2572 Eglinton Avenue West.
Okay, thank you, sir. Just to let you know, we have a report on file from staff with regards to your applications from Transportation Services dated the 27th of October. They had no objection to your proposed driveway width. Just wanted to ask, sir, what is the purpose of your deferral?
As of recent, there have been some concerns from the community, which we respect and we would like to address with them in a formal process. Further, the applicant is considering some revisions to the application. As such, we want to respect the Planning Act minimum notice timelines so the application can be properly reviewed by staff and the community as a whole.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Carmit Finer, F-I-N-E-R. Are you there?
Harmeet Finer is present.
Yes. Hi, madam. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes. I need your full name and address. Hello, madam?
I can't hear you. Hello? Can you hear me?
We can hear you, madam.
Okay.
Can you
I'm
hear us?
present, Carmeet Finer. Yes, now it's perfect. Thank you for adjusting.
Okay, thank you, madam. Do you have an objection to the applicant's request for a deferral?
No, I have no objection.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Being none, we'll go to the next person on the list. Vicky Sterling, are you there?
Mr. Chair, I don't see her on the call.
Okay, thank you. Take her off the list. That's it. Can I get a motion on this deferral request, please? Ms. Sankar?
Defer this application sine die to give the agent a chance to meet with staff and neighbors.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Sir, your application has been deferred to the next available meeting so that you can discuss your, can revise your application and discuss it with staff, with affected neighbors. Good luck, sir. We're now on item number 24, 88 Fellbrigg Avenue. I have a deferral request for that particular application. The agent is Michael Shirzadfar, S-H-I-R-Z-A-D-F-A-R. Are you there, sir? Hello, Michael, are you there?
Hi, Michael, if that's your name on the call, I do not currently see your audio device connected to the call. Can you please try to reconnect your audio device, and I can unmute you.
Mr. Chu, I'm gonna move on to another application. We'll come back to this. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go back to our regular agenda. We're on item number 14, 60 Garthdale Court. I have one person registered to speak, a gentleman named Byron. Are you there? Byron, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
I am Byron Henry, 4295 Dufferin Street.
Okay, thank you, sir. Just looking at your file here. I note that there's no staff comments or conditions attached to your application. I note that you have one variance for us for rear yard landscaping. I'm just going to ask, it's pretty clear what you're asking for. Is there anything that you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members. I am not fully acquainted with the request from the proprietors at 60 Garthdale. I don't know if that property backs on to my property. If it does not back on, I have nothing, no objections whatsoever, because I don't know of the affairs of the application. I don't have the details. But if it does not back onto my property, I have no objection, I have no interest. If it does back on to my property, if it adjoins my property, my request would be...
Excuse me, excuse me, sir, just a moment. Ms. Mazdanowski?
Yes, the problem is that there is the agent and this neighbor, this is the neighbor, and the agent probably have the same name.
Hang on just a moment.
Just give us a minute to find the agent so he can talk first.
This gentleman is the agent, correct?
No.
Excuse me, just a moment. Okay, I'm sorry, sir, just a moment. I'm sorry, we had you down as the agent. I'm sorry you're not. My apologies.
Mr. Escobar?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Byron Escobar?
Good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah,
My name is Byron Escobar. I am the agent for this item, and actually I'm the agent for the next item. See, the next item is going to be the neighbor, is the 658 Garthdale Court. And basically the problem is exactly the same.
Sir, can I please get your full name and your address, please?
Sure. My name is Byron Escobar from TVM Engineers. I am the agent for 60 Garthdale Court.
And are you the agent for 60?
Yes, and I am the agent for 58 as well.
Okay, thank you. Can you, again, as I indicated, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
The only thing is we're proposing a retaining wall within the property lines. We're not going anywhere out from the property lines. That's all I want to add. We are working and we want to do a retaining wall on the rear of both properties, but we are inside the property line. That's to clarify on it.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? I'm sorry. Oh, shoot. Is that Mr. Henry?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Escobar, I'm sorry. I have to. We have a area resident here who just happens to have your same first name. Mr. Henry, are you there?
I am here, sir.
Okay, Mr. Henry, are you speaking with regards to 60 Garthdale Court?
I am not certain, sir, which property backs on to my property at 4295
Okay.
Dufferin Street.
Okay, if you'd like to give
If
us
it
your
does
thoughts,
not back,
if you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
yes, sir. If it does not back on to my property, I have no objection and no interest. If it does back on to my property, all I'm requesting that there be no encroachment and that the existing boundary lines be maintained.
Okay, thank you, sir. And again, what is your address?
4295 Dufferin Street.
4295. Okay, I don't think you're close to this particular application, but anyway, I will. We've heard your comments. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? No. We'll go back to Mr. Mr. Escobar. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You've heard the comments from Mr. Henry. Is there any encroachment into his property?
No. Again, this project is within the property lines of 58 and 60 Garthdale. So we're basically working in our side of the property line with the retaining walls.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Okay. Does the committee have? I'm sorry, sir. Would you like to? If you have more to add?
Oh no, that's all. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Kidd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just curious, is there any changes to the existing landscaping out there, the soft landscaping? Are you increasing the hard landscaping in any way as a result of the work?
No, in reality, it was an old retaining wall made of wood. That retaining wall collapsed. So the idea here is to replace it with a poured concrete retaining wall, but we're not changing any more or less from the landscape that was there before.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem.
Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please, Mr. Kidd?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a minor change and probably an improvement on the existing conditions out there. I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application without condition.
Okay, thank you. Someone to second Mr. Kidd's motion. Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you. Pardon me, there's an urban forestry, I'm sorry. Been approved without condition. Thank you very much. Now on item number 15, 58 Garthdale Court. Again, the agent is Byron Escobar. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here.
Just again, sir, if you'd, just looking through your file here, there's no staff comments. There is one staff comment from Urban Forestry, a recommended condition from Urban Forestry. Other than that, there are no other comments. I note that it's basically the same. It's another landscaping variance. Pretty straightforward what you're asking for. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us today?
No, the same comments as before. We're working within the property lines of this lot.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think it is a straightforward application. I move the approval of this application with forestry conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously, sir. Your application's been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you very much. Pardon me.
Thank you.
Subject to urban forestry conditions. Thank you. We'll go back to see if that item number 24 the deferral request. Item number 24, 88 Fellbrigg Avenue. Do we have Michael Shirzadafar there?
Hello?
Hello, Michael?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, how are you?
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, Michael Shirzadafar. I'm the agent on behalf of the homeowners at 88 Fellbrigg.
Okay, thank you,
We're
sir.
requesting it.
Before you start, I'm just going through your file here. I note that there is a recommended condition from Urban Forestry, and there were comments from City Planning dated the 27th of October that basically had no objections to your application, provided you build according to the approved plans. Can you just give the committee the reason for the deferral?
Well, I think planning has concerns regarding the third-story proposal, and I believe the councillor and some neighbors have raised that concern as well.
You're right. I'm sorry. It was the city planning was October 19th. Yeah, recommending refusing variance number 6, which was for the proposed 3-story building. And Councillor Cole was recommending refusal.
Correct. So we would like the opportunity to revise our drawings and address these concerns that the neighbor, the councillor, and the planning department has brought up, and come back to committee with a proposal that kind of meets the characteristics of the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Being none, we'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Jim Sadler. Are you there? Mr. Sadler, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can I get your full name and address?
Jim Sadler, and I represent the South Armor Heights Residents Association.
Okay, thank you. Do you have an objection to the applicant's request for a deferral?
I do not.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Go to the next person on the list, and Alan or Rhonda Goldberg. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, I do not see them on the call.
Okay, thank you. Take them off the list. We'll go back. Can I get a motion on this deferral request, please? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would move a deferral sine die in order to allow the applicant to discuss the configuration of stories with the planning department.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Someone to second that? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been deferred to the next available meeting so that you can discuss your application with city planning. I also suggest you discuss it with the abutting neighbors as well. Thank you very much. Good luck. We are now on item number
16.
15.
16.
532 Briar Hill Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That's Sean Galbraith. Are you there? Sean Galbraith, are you there?
Good afternoon, Chair. Yes, I am.
Yes, hello. Thank you. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Sean Galbraith, 18 King Street East, Suite 1400. I'm a planner here on behalf of the application.
Great, thank you. I just went through your file. I note that there's a Transportation Services report dated the 27th of October that has no objections to your request for front yard parking. Just going... Yeah, 4 variances before us. It's pretty clear what you're asking for. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
No, I think it's pretty straightforward. I note that we have the support of both adjacent neighbors, and the variances requested are entirely in keeping with those that have been approved in the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Galbraith, your variance number 3, FSI is quite high, something like 51%. How do you justify that this is a minor variance?
So the 0.35 zone, essentially the history of it is to generate variances, not really to control the square footage of houses. The 7.1 requested is entirely sort of the norm for variances approved on Briar Hill, including 503, Briar Hill 557, 584, 615. This is the size. What is proposed, the size of that house is basically the size of the houses that are being constructed specifically on Briar Hill with this FSI.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sir, what you're telling me is normal. This is not normal according to the zoning bylaws.
No, this is normal according to the Committee of Adjustments' recent decisions.
I'm not aware of that, sir. I'm considering your application only.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, there are 4 variances in front of us. And variance number 3, as I just discussed, FSI, is very high. It's not according to the zoning bylaws and official plans. I move this variance be refused.
Mr. Khan, are you proposing the application be refused or just variance number 3?
Variance number 3 be refused, please.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion for Mr. Khan to refuse variance number 3. Someone to second that? That motion does not carry. Can I get another motion? Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. My perspective on this is that, while that one variance does seem to be a little bit larger than the others, that coupled with the fact that staff seems to be okay with it, there's no concerns from transport, and there's indeed 4 letters of support for this application, I'm going to put forward a motion to approve this application as is.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? Dissenting? Mr. Khan dissenting? That motion carries. Sir, your application has been approved without condition. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Item number 17, 660 Oriole Parkway. I have 2 people registered to speak. The agent is Babak Sajari. Are you there? Babak Sajari, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Bob Shajari. I'm owner and the designer of this project that you have.
Thank you. We have one other person registered to speak, sir, so if you would, I note that there are no staff comments or conditions on file with your application. So if you'd like to give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
I believe I sent 11 pages of documents explaining my design over there. And basically, the number of variances seems on the high side, to be honest, but it's not fairly reflect the reality because it's a corner lot that is elevated and it has a steep slope from south to north and also from west to east side. And that's why a bunch of those variances, like height of the building is pumped up actually, which in reality the established grade of this property is 5 feet or 1.5 meters above the adjacent street. So if you consider that in all these numbers, the height of the building is not that considerably higher than what is there. If you go to page number 7 of this document, which I submitted, I drew the neighbor's property in the elevations over there, and you can see that this property, although it's 110 years later, designed later than that one, it's not that much bigger than that, and it's nothing abnormal about it. The only item which looks really high is the height of the building from the street. Actually, it's variance number 10, which I'm trying to explain that this is created because the location of this lot is elevated from the intersection. And as you can see, if you build something on top of there, it will be taller. It will seem taller from the street from actually what it is. So all other items are not that far from what is approved by Committee of Adjustments, the recent norm of the neighborhood. So if you want, or if there is any question about these items that I explained there, I will explain further about each item, but I don't want to take much more time of your.
Yes, sir. I had a question with respect to, especially along that Elwood. I think it's Elwood Avenue or Elwood Street, the intersecting street with Oriole Parkway. The building you have, the massing along that lot frontage, especially since you're going right down to basically the limit of the road grade, the building presents as almost a 3-story building. Is that correct?
Yes, actually, it's a very good point, Mr. Chair. That's the building is 2.5 story. On that side, on the elevations, on the north elevation that I have for the building, in that report, I showed that the actual, if you go there, you see the highlighted lower part, which is highlighted in blue. That's actually the basement walkouts of the building. The change over there is proposed because at the moment, this area, unfortunately, is being used by the high school students of the high school that is located on Avenue Road. And they gather there because there is no presence of any side windows or any transparent face of the building that they feel that people see them. They gather there and smoke and chat and fight and everything. So considering the basics and the idea of CPTED, which is crime prevention by design, to be clear, crime prevention through environmental design. I tried to have this basement walk out and overlook this side street to somehow resolve that issue that is in many neighbors' point of view. It's an issue that this side street has and always had before.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sir, I have concerns about 3 variances. Variances number 6, which is FSI, and also building height variance number 7, and building height variance number 10. These are not minor to me, and they do not comply with the zoning bylaws and the official plan. How could we consider it as variances that we should give you opportunity to have approval?
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Variance number 6 is in line with norm of the files that is approved by Committee of Adjustment. Actually, in many cases in this neighborhood, it's approved at a higher number, or at least to the same level. About the other variances about the height, let's say item number 7, actually because it's a sloped property, if you measure the height from west elevation, the height of the building is only 9.5 meters, which is less than around 10% or less than 10% higher than what it is, like what the zoning allows. But on the north and east side, because the slope it slopes down there, the building looks higher. So these numbers doesn't fairly reflect the reality there because of the special condition of this property.
Sir, would you admit that this is the height which is extra, and also FSI which is extra is causing a massing and giving you a better structure than the rest of the locality has?
Yeah, excuse me, did you say a better structure? I heard the better.
Massing the structure means you are asking for 2.5 story, while only 2 stories are allowed.
No, I don't think that's the zoning bylaw. If we have a gabled roof, 3 stories allowed in this neighborhood. If it's a flat roof, it's only 2 story allowed. And my project is 2.5 stories. It's not a complete 3 story. It's just a loft under the roof, or under the sloped roof, and it doesn't have a mass. If you look at the perspectives that are attached to my presentation, which is submitted, you will see that in those perspectives, it shows that it's not that massive, the size of this design. Although, as I said, the numbers are not fairly present this because of the slope and the way that this site is located. So if you look at it on the south side, it's a 2-story house with a sloped roof. Whereas if you look at from the north side, on north elevation, it may even look 4 stories. It's a condition of the site that it is. But I'm not asking for any floor variances because 3 floors are allowed in this property if the roof is sloped.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please?
Mr. Chair, I believe there was is there one other person registered to speak?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Before we go, I'm sorry. Thank you. We have a Patricia Galliana. Are you there?
Me?
Yes. Hello, Ms. Galliana.
Hello. Okay, I'm at 658 Oriole Parkway, and I have a question. I'd like to know how the demolition and the building will impact on the driveway that separates our 2 properties.
Well, we can refer that question to the agent. Do you have any other comments you'd like to make on the application?
No, I do not.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker?
Yes, sir. I was reading in the letter from this lady that she also has a concern about the in-between driveway. Is it true?
Well, yes, it's the driveway I'm speaking of.
Okay, we'll refer the question back to Mr. Sajari. Mr. Sajari, are you there?
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Sajari, you heard the comments from Ms. Galliana. If you'd like to respond to them, please.
Yes, I did. This is a mutual drive that we have in between the 2 properties. It's 8 foot wide, and it ends up in in the neighbors, the lady who just spoke, parking garage only. If this application is approved, we will review it during the permit application, building permit application, and during the construction to avoid any obstructions to neighbors' access to her parking garage. Of course, that's right of way, and it has to be preserved during the time. So if any technical issues is happening during the construction or any obstruction, we need to address that for sure. I agree with that. So, but it's not one of the items in the variances that I see. I respect the right of way. We haven't designed anything to obstruct it at any heights, or I'm not changing anything in there.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Given the fact that there's no negative comments from city staff with regard to this application, I'm going to put forward a motion to accept the application without condition.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? Dissenting? Mr. Khan opposed, but that motion carries. Sir, your application's been approved without condition. Thank you very much, sir. Item number 18, 4 Waxwing Place. I have 4 people registered to speak. The agent is a Daniel Vincani. Are you there? Mr. Vincani, are you there?
Daniel, you're unmuted.
Daniel Vincani, are you there? Mr. Vincani, are you there? Mr. Chu, I'm just going to jump ahead to item number 20. We'll come back to him. We'll jump ahead to item number 20. Item number 19 was dealt with. Item number 20, 79 Empress Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That's Ida Evangelista. Miss Evangelista, are you there?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'm here.
Yes, thank you very much. Just going through your file, madam, I note that there is recommended conditions from urban forestry, and there's also a city planning report dated the 27th of October, which made a number of recommendations to modify the application, as well as a condition if these revisions are made to develop it according to the plans. I just wanted to ask, madam, have you had an opportunity to review those reports?
I have, Mr. Chair, and I have worked with planning, and we have revised the application per the staff report. So variances 1 and 2 removed.
Ms. Evangelista, before we start, can you just, if you're proposing to make changes to those to the variances, could you read these changes into the record for the benefit of the panel members as well as the public?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So variance number 1.
Okay.
The east side yard setback, that has been removed.
Okay.
We now comply. Variance number 2, we now comply, therefore that has been removed.
Okay.
And variance number 4,
okay,
our lot coverage, will now read 32%.
Okay, and it's being reduced from 34.77%, correct?
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. So just to summarize then, we have variance number 1, east side yard setback deleted. Variance number 2, west side yard setback deleted. Variance number 4, the lot coverage has been has gone from 34.77% to 32%. And out of curiosity, Ms. Evangelista, do you know what that square meter area is for the 32%?
Oh, no.
Okay.
If you can just bear with me.
The only reason I'm asking is because it's detailed in the notice. But I don't.
I believe it's 180. I believe it's 188.10 square meters.
Okay, all right, close enough. Okay, all right, thank you, Ms. Evangelista. If you'd like to give the committee a brief presentation. Well, actually, I don't think we need it because it's pretty clear what you're asking. I think the committee's pretty clear on what you're asking for. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
Yeah, Mr. Chair and members, I did submit, I did include in my submission the variances, and I did highlight because there is one variance for a side exterior main wall for 9.97, which only relates to the east side. And if you take a look at my page 4 of my submission, I've actually showed a picture. I've outlined it. I've showed the actual east elevation, and I've showed the front elevation just so that you can get a perspective on why we have that main wall height, and it only relates to that side. But if we do take a look to the underside of the eaves at 7.51, it's just because of the design of the home, and that's what is creating that main wall height. The bylaw under the old 7625, as you know, it's taken from the the center line of the road, and it's gone a little bit higher. That too has also been taken to where the points meet, as shown on page 4. I respectfully submit that what we're proposing is a form of intensification that meets the 4 test, and it is in keeping with the zoning bylaw and with the official plan, and is appropriate and development. As you see, again, in my submission, I've included just a sprinkling of pictures in the very immediate area of 79 Empress. So what we're building is very characteristic to this neighborhood, and will complement the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you,
I'm open to any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? This revised application, Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I find after modification of these variances as cited by the lady, and taking the staff recommendation into consideration, I move this development developed substantially in accordance with the east and west side elevation drawings submitted to the Committee of Adjustment dated October the 21st, 2022, and attachment 1 and 2 to this report. This application be approved with forestry conditions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khan. Someone to second that? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application has been approved, subject to urban forestry and city planning conditions.
Thank you very much, and have a great day.
You too. Go back to item number 18, 4 Waxwing Place. Is Daniel Vincani there, the agent?
Yes, I'm here, Mr. Chair.
Yes, hello, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Sure. My name is Daniel Vinciani, 335 Rathburn Road, Toronto, Ontario.
Okay, thank you, sir. I note that going through your file, the only staff conditions we have are from urban forestry, and there's a transportation services report dated the 27th of October, which had no objections to the proposed driveway width. We have 3 other people registered to speak, sir, so if you'd like to give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Sure, will do. Good afternoon, Chairman and committee members. Thank you for the opportunity for allowing me to speak here today. Our current proposal includes a 2-story detached house with integral garage. We are seeking 2 variances under the current citywide bylaw 569/2013 for lot coverage and driveway width, and 1 variance for height under the old bylaw 7625. I would like to point out that since the public hearing notice was sent out, we have submitted revised plans and a zoning waiver with a reduced lot coverage variance from 29.8% to 28.74% in order to address some of the neighbors' concerns. We feel that this new reduced coverage of 28.74% represents a more appropriate development that is reflective of the current residents for coverage in the neighborhood. And as shown on the supporting documents that you have in front of you, if you could kindly pull the table, the next page. Yeah. So with our reduced coverage now, we're more in line to what is the current trend and what has been approved in the area. And would like to add that unlike some of the other approvals in the surrounding area, our proposal is in compliance with front, rear, side yard setbacks, length, depth, and height. The variance for height under the old North York bylaw represents a minor variance of only 21 centimeters, which is about 8¼ inches. And it's mainly because it's measured from the midpoint of the roof to all the way to the center line of the street. The size of the building, it has an L-shaped footprint, which breaks up the massing and allows for additional generous side yards behind the garage versus a traditional typical boxy rectangular footprint. So our proposed western side yard, if you could please show the site plan. If you could please pull up the site plan. Yeah. So the requirement for the bylaw is 1.8 meters for side yard setback. Our western side yard is 2.01 meters, whereas the eastern side yard on the garage side is 2.96 meters versus 1.8 meters. And at the rear of the property, it's as much as 6.54 side yards. As such, we are of the opinion that the additional coverage does not create any negative impact on the neighbors next door, nor blocking any sunlight to the adjoining properties, given that the side yard setbacks are higher than what the bylaw requires. And also no additional variances for length and height above 10 meters is being asked. As per the driveway variance, I would say that it's mainly triggered due to an existing site condition. Ideally, we could have made the driveway straight, but because there is a city tree in front of it, that's what's causing the tapered look of the driveway, so we have to go to the existing curb cut that's there. Otherwise, by increasing the curb cut even more, then we would be closer to the city tree. And transportation department had no objection to this application. We believe that as a whole, the project maintains the general intent of the zoning bylaw, official plan. It's desirable in nature, and also minor variances are being seeked. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to the next speaker on the list. I have a Vivian Lee, L.I. Are you there?
Mrs. Chair, I'm Vivian Lee, and I'm a neighbor. I'm just...
Madam, before you start, can I get your full name and address, please?
My name is Na Lee. My address is 9 Waxwing Place.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application?
Yeah, I'm curious, the designer, how to address the height variance, like, you know, some of the concern from neighbors are regarding the left and the right side building are could potentially get some blocks from the sunlight standpoint. I'm just curious about that angle.
Okay, thank you, madam. That will be answered by the applicant when he comes back and responds to your comments. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Jacqueline Wiley. Are you there?
Hi there, yes I am here.
Yes, I can hear you. Can I get your full name and address?
Yes, my name is Jacqueline Wiley, and I live at 56 Deepwood Crescent.
Great. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Sure. So my home and my property is actually behind this proposed build. So our backyards are sort of kitty corner to each other. And I guess I would first also like to just point out to the committee that when I was reading all the application materials, I did notice that there are 3 letters of support that have been submitted for this property and for this plan. And I'd just like to point out that I'm not so sure how accurate those letters are. 5 Waxwing Place is one of the properties that says that they live at that property and that they're in support of this application. 5 Waxwing Place was sold by its original owner approximately 6 years ago, and it has been vacant ever since. So that owner does not live at that property and hasn't lived in the neighborhood. Similarly, 30 Greenland was also sold about 5 years ago, and the owner has never lived in the home. It's been rented out for those 5 years to another family. So again, them stating that they're in support and that they live there is not accurate. And the third property, 32 Deepwood Crescent, is nowhere in sight of this property. So I'd just like to have that go into the record to begin with. In terms of my own impressions of this submission, I would suggest that the variance, I appreciate that the builder is now saying that they've reduced the overall lot coverage. I would still not characterize this as a minor variance. It's still quite substantial. And really the rules already allow for a 2-story home that really doesn't need to tower over the other properties as it will mine. I think probably, you know, the goal is to build the largest house possible to sell for the maximum amount of money. But I'm quite concerned that this is actually fueling the housing crisis that we have right now. Probably only the top 5% of earners would be able to own this house, nudging out any average families. People who are nurses and teachers can no longer live in Toronto and take those jobs. In terms of the driveway, I think, well, this is both the driveway and the overall size of the property. I think the last thing the city needs, any neighborhood needs, is more concrete and more asphalt. This is contributing both to the heat that's radiating and reflecting back into the air. And it's also, I see the impact when there's heavy rains. I'm slightly downhill and the water comes rushing around. So to remove more of the porous ground that we have by putting down a large driveway, and also covering more of the land itself, to me is not a good idea. And I think the last piece, the height, again, to me, is still significantly higher than it would need to be. And I think, although a lot of the homes, mine included, is a bungalow, and I have no difficulty with two-story homes being built, I don't think it needs to be. It doesn't need to include a variance. I think the guidelines already allow quite generously for quite a large home as it is without the variances. So I certainly do not support these variances, and would hope that the committee will agree.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Doris Bies, B-I-E-S. Are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can I get your full name and address?
Yes, it's Doris Beese, and I'm on 2 Waxwing Place, and I'm right beside the number 4. So,
Yes, if you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
okay, well, I had a whole speech done, but Jacqueline's already taken most of it, so I won't bore you with all mine. We did put together a petition, and we sent it in last week, and you can see from the petition and the pictures and the letters that we've got of support that most of the people in this community do not want, everything to go over 25% lot coverage and the 8.8. Now, I'm happy to see that he's reduced it a little bit, but let's face it, I mean, he's still starting at almost 30%. At 25% in our neighborhood is quite substantial because most of our people are not using their 25% lot coverage as it is. So putting in that kind of a home it doesn't fit the neighborhood. It doesn't suit our community. And really, our community does not want this, as you can see from the petitions and from Denzel's letter and all of that. And thank you, Jacqueline, for reminding everybody that those 3 people are not letters of real support. So the people that you'll see that have signed are real letters of support. We also are quite concerned with the blocking of sun, to Vivian's point. We are not going to have any sun in our backyard to the east or to the west. And so we do realize that, the bungalows of the 50s and 60s are no longer the norm. 25% is a fairly large house. And when you look at number 1 and number 3, as we've pointed out in the presentation that we had sent to you earlier this week, those are large homes. So he can absolutely put in a beautiful home at 25%. So we're asking the committee just to stay within the letter of the law of our bylaws of what Don Mills is. And our lot coverages are 25% and obviously 8.8. So we're also concerned with, if the committee does decide to go ahead and approve this, that removal of trees will have to be taken down. And so those trees are 50 years old and there's no need to take them down. But if the lot coverage gets larger, they will have to go to they will then apply for trees to come down. So we really would like the committee to consider the neighbors and the neighborhood and what we look like, and not just the builders. We have builders coming into Jacqueline's point. We have builders that are coming into our community, building houses and then leaving. They're not here to live in our community. They're here to make a buck, and that's all they're here to do. I know that the one house they mentioned was number 7, and that they were a larger place. I can also tell you that number 7 is in court with the city for the way they've built their house and have several pieces of lawsuits against them. So number 7 is not a fair house to take a look at, and we don't want that again. So when you look at the pictures that you're showing, this is our community, and we would really like, we know that 25% is the legal limit. We'd like you to stay within that. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? We'll go back to Mr. Vincani. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here, yeah.
Yes, you've heard the comments from the previous speakers. If you'd like to reply to them, please.
Sure. So, first I would like to address the neighbor in the rear yard. Okay. So, I would like to point out that the length of the property is within the allowable requirement of the city bylaw. So 17 meters is the max. We're way under that. So I don't see how there's any impact in case for privacy or sun when we're further back than what is required. So that's one thing. So when it comes to additional about the side yards for number 2 Waxwing place, the same thing applies. We have 2 meter side yards, more than 1.8 meters. Our height is well under the current in effect zoning bylaw, which is 10 meters in height. Okay, we don't have a wall height variance. Okay, we're respecting the bylaw 90% of the time. Right. The only whether we're asking for a little bit of coverage, which is about 280 square feet, whether that gets removed from the middle of the building, the impact on the sides will be exactly the same. The look, the height, it's well within what the bylaw allows, right? And when it comes to the driveway, ideally we would want to do a straight driveway, but we don't want to cut the city tree in the front yard, right? So that's why we think this is minor in nature, and I would even propose, if the committee would agree, that this driveway can be made of permeable pavers, right, to offset some of the water discharge as a result.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to ask, with respect to the building height, the building height variance you're requesting is under the old North York, well, the obsolete North York bylaw. Does the height of the building comply with the new bylaw 569-2013?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
It's under 10 meters.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have heard the neighbors and also the applicant. So I'm of the view, although there is no staff recommendation for this particular application, I find this one is complying with the zoning bylaws, and it should be approved with forestry conditions.
Thank you. I have a motion from Mr. Khan to approve the application subject to urban forestry conditions. Someone to second that? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Ms. Sankar dissenting. That motion carries. Sir, your application's been approved subject to urban forestry conditions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and have a nice day.
Thank you. Now on item number 21, 32 Lacewood Crescent. I have 2 people registered to speak. The agent is Sarouj Kalustian, Kaloustian. Are you there?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chair.
Yes, hello. Can I get your full name and address, please?
It's Sarouj Kalustian, 1800A Avenue Road, North York, Toronto.
Okay, thank you, sir. Just going through your file, I note that there is number of letters, recommendations from city staff. There's recommended conditions from urban forestry. There's a city planning report that recommends that you modify variances number 1 and 7, and if it's approved, build according to plans. And that there's also a report from Transportation Services dated the 27th of October. Had no objections to the driveway width, provided that the bell easement shown on the site does not overlap with the proposed location of the driveway. I just wanted to ask if you had the opportunity to review these reports, sir?
Yes, I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you.
And
yes, before you start, were you proposing to make modifications to your application as requested by city planning?
Yes, we have. We've actually made those modifications that were recommended by planning staff.
Okay, can you please read into the record for the benefit of the panel members as well as the public what those modifications are, please?
Sure. So for variance number 1 regarding the platform encroachment into the front yard setback, planning staff had recommending that we change it from 4.375 meters to less than 3.85 meters. So that's been completed for variance number 1. And for variance number 7 regarding the exterior landscape stair width under the zoning bylaw 5692013, we've also modified from 4.66 meters to 3.65 meters.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now, are there any other changes that you'd like to make to the application?
There are no other changes, no.
Okay, thank you, sir. If you'd like to, we have one other person registered to speak on this application, so if you'd like to give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Sure. I just want to mention here that we've actually started this design work since 2019. Our first application that we made was to TRCA, which was a pre-consultation application, which put us in touch with Tarina Tam. And since then, we've been going through multiple revisions. We had to get geotechnical engineering to figure out where the stable top of the bank was. Once we got those results, we had to do changes and go back to TRCA until TRCA gave the green light. Once we figured out by the reports that this proposal that we have in front of us does not impact the stability of the land around, and of course to make sure that we meet the characteristics of the neighborhood. So once we got the green light from TRCA, we did proceed in making the applications through the building department and also committee of adjustment. Obviously, given the location of the stable top of the bank going through the existing house, a lot of the variances that we have in front of us are triggered by that. But I mean, given the fact that we've been working on variations for 2 years, this is the proposal that seems to satisfy all the departments. We have made an application to forestry, and we have made an application to urban forestry as well, as they recommended. So that is a process we're still going to go through. But of course, you know, that's part of the TRCA requirements as well for their final approval. But we do have verbal approval from them, and as per TRCA's comments, they have no objections to our proposal. In regards to most of the variances, I think they're pretty clear, but I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that the committee would have. Keep in mind that TRCA did not allow us to obviously build past the stable top of the bank, so this turned out to be a partial second-story addition with a bit of a front and side additions, as you can see highlighted on the site plan. So the darker gray areas are the areas that we've increased in footprint, and the rest are above the existing home.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Kidd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm taking a look at the survey and the site plan. The addition that you're showing on the, I'm not sure if is it the north side of the, on the north side of the existing dwelling, would be completely covering the bell easement that runs along the side of the house. Did you have a discussion with Bell Canada with regard to this, or have you got some kind of permission to build on top of their easement?
Yes, Paul, we actually did communicate with them. They did give us a letter of clearance, and they are full aware of our proposal, and we've sent that letter, in fact, with our application to Committee of Adjustment. So planning staff was also aware of this.
Okay,
do we have a copy of that letter?
And we don't have a copy of that, Mr. Kidd. I was going to just to follow up on Mr. Kidd's question, sir. Have you read the report from Transportation Services? Because what the gist I get from that report is they're asking you to relocate the driveway 1.5 meters to the south so the driveway isn't constructed over the Bell easement.
I'm aware of that. I did send a email back to Transportation stating them that the Bell does not need that portion of the easement anymore. So they've actually given that easement to the property at 32 Lacewood. So there is no more easement on this property officially. So I've sent that letter of clearance from Bell stating that to the Transportation Department. And I haven't gotten a response back, but technically there shouldn't be an easement anymore on this property.
Because I noticed when I was out at the site as well as on the survey, the existing Bell box is right at looks like the northwest corner of the property, extreme northwest corner of the property. So it's not even in the easement area, is it?
Well, I mean, in terms of the proximity of the box, I'm not really sure, but I mean, going through Bell was part of the 3-year process. I mean, I have the letter from them stating that you can proceed with this proposal. They're also informed of what we're doing, and we had given this attachment of the letter to our Committee of Adjustment application. So as far as I'm concerned, Bell shouldn't be an issue.
Okay, thank you. But remember, sir, that the responsibility is on you to deal with this issue and the risks that go with it, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question is simple, that in the letter of October 24th, TRCA is asking you to apply for the TRCA permit. Are you going to do that?
We've actually already sent in all the applications to TRCA for the formal final application. We have made previous applications as discussed with the pre-consultation application. We made a few payments, so we have been in touch with them for a while. But in terms of the final application, yes, we've submitted everything to TRCA.
Okay, and I'd also like to emphasize that TRCA report also indicates that they have no objections to your application. That correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? We'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Joanne or Roger Mason. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, Joanne nor Roger are on the call.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have no speakers, so I'll just go through if we can get a motion on this revised application. I'll just read it through. Variance number 1 regarding the platform encroachment in the front yard setback has been reduced from 4.37 meters to 3.85 meters. And variance number 7 regarding the exterior stair width has been reduced from 4.66 meters to 3.65 meters. So if I could get a motion on this revised application, please. Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just taking the staff recommendation into consideration after listening from the applicant as well as the people in opposition. So you have already mentioned the recommendations for modification variance number 1 and variance number 7. So I'm reading the conditions set forth by the staff, and they are saying proposal be developed substantially front yard setback in accordance with the site plan drawings attached to this report. And I move this application be approved with forestry conditions.
Thank you. I have a motion from Mr. Khan to approve the application subject to urban forestry and city planning conditions. I have someone to second that motion, please. That motion does not carry. Can I get another motion? Ms. Sankar?
Mr. Chair, I'll put forward a motion similar to Mr. Khan. However, I do want it attached to the transportation report because I do believe that needs to be considered regardless. I haven't seen anything around sort of the Bell easement and documentation around that. So I'll put forward a motion to approve the application subject to the changes that you've already outlined and that the agent has made here today. But it will also be subject again to, the TRCA report, as well as the forestry report, as well as transport report of October 27th.
Okay, the TRCA report had no objections to the application.
No objections, right?
Yeah,
Okay. No.
So your motion is just a follow-up to Mr. Khan. Could we actually adopt Mr. Khan's motion and add your transportation services request as a friendly amendment? Because he had the same motion approving it subject to city planning and urban forestry, but not the transportation services. So you had the same thing and just added as a friendly amendment. Mr. Khan, is that acceptable to you?
That will be acceptable, yes.
Okay, thank you. So if I could get a motion on, if I could get someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Kidd dissenting. That motion carries. Sir, your application has been approved subject to urban forestry, city planning, and transportation services condition. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
We are now on, actually, would the committee like to take a break for 10 minutes? Okay, we'll take a break for 10 minutes. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, committee's back in session. We are now on item number 22, 8 Ridge Hill Drive. That was deferred. We'll move to the next one, which is item number 23, 111 Ronan Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That is Natalia Yetsenko. Are you there? Natalia Yetsenko, are you there?
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Natalia Tsenko of Crothers & Associates. Address is 505 York Boulevard in Hamilton.
Okay, thank you. Just going through your file, madam, I noted that there's a report from City Planning dated the 27th of October. They have no objections to your application subject to a condition, building according to plans. It's pretty clear what you're asking for in the variances. You have two before us. Is there anything that you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material that we have before us this afternoon? And
I would like to...
And before you start, madam, I think you may want to justify your rationale for the floor space index of 0.937.
Yeah, absolutely. So our proposal consists of an expansion to the existing covered porch in the rear yard, while also expanding the multi-purpose room located below the porch. The porch would serve as an outdoor living space and a place for the family and friends to eat outside during the warm seasons. And the current homeowners, along with their child, have lived in the house for 3 years. And this development would allow them to stay in the neighborhood and maintain this lifestyle. We have also canvassed the neighborhood and obtained 6 letters of support regarding our application. So in reference to variance number 1, which speaks to a permitted building depth of 21 meters where 17 is permitted, I would just like to note that this depth is taken to the outermost portion of the rear porch, which is the edge of the steps. So while the addition does exceed the existing building depth of 18.96 meters by 2.04 meters, it's pretty minor in comparison to that. For variance 2, we are seeking a permitted floor space index of 0.937 where 6 meters is permitted, or sorry, 0.6 is permitted. So the proposed lower level addition triggers a variance requirement for floor space index of 0.937, which translates to 315.7 square meters. However, the existing dwelling currently has a floor space index of 0.893, which is 301 square meters. This is the difference of 14 square meters and FSI of 0.04. So the addition located underneath the rear porch would offer a multi-use purpose for the family with some at-home working flexibility, a child play area, and additional storage space. If there's any questions, I'll happily answer them to the committee at this time.
Okay, thank you, madam. Just a question I wanted to ask. It's related to your plan of survey. I just noted, is there an existing right-of-way between 115 and 111? It shows on a plan of survey.
Yes, you are correct, and we are not impacting it.
Okay, no, I just wanted to ask because when I was up there, I noticed that number 115 has built a structure into that right-of-way. Does that affect your rights?
It will not, no.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Madam Yatsenko, my question is, in drawing A1, showing a tree in existing rear elevation, will it be cut, damaged to the extent that addition will be affected?
So if you actually reference our site plan SP, we are maintaining the tree. We will be damaging the roots slightly, but we are preparing an arborist report and we're going to be applying for a tree permit for this damage.
Thank you.
Any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm taking the staff recommendation for the approval of this application. We say that the building depth be developed substantially in accordance with the site plan and left side elevation drawings attached to this report. This application be approved.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 24 has been deferred. We're now on item number 25, 147 Roslyn Avenue. I have one person registered to speak, and that is the agent, Marin Zabzuni. Are you there, sir?
Good afternoon. Yes, Marin Zabzuni at 1140 the Queensway.
Yes, thank you, sir. Just gone through your file. I note that there's a couple of reports present here, one from recommended condition from Urban Forestry and a recommended a report from City Planning dated the 27th of October, which had no objections subject to building according to plans. And I have, let me just see here. You have one variance before us for building height, proposed height of exterior main walls. Is there, I think it's pretty clear what you're asking for. Is there anything that you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
Only to add that we also received letters of support from the immediate neighbors. So, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, not a problem.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think the requested variance is minor in nature, and I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application with the condition, the planning staff condition, that the exterior side main wall heights be developed substantially in accordance with the east and west side elevation drawings attached to the planning staff report dated October 27, 2022, and also subject to forestry condition.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application is unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry and city planning conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're now on item number 26, which is 29 Prince Charles Drive. I have one person registered to speak. That is Sarah Ifra. Are you there?
I am.
Yes, thank you, madam. Could I get your full name and address, please?
Yep, Sarah Ifra, 75 Dufflaw Road, Suite 201A, Toronto.
Thank you. Going through your file, I note that there are no staff comments or recommended conditions. If 5 variances before us, pretty clear what you're asking for. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
I can do a brief presentation, or we can deal with it through questions. Although I did include this with my package, the coverage is 3% over the allowable coverage in the area, which is very consistent with the neighborhood. The length of the house, the actual main box of the house, is actually just 16.99 meters. It's that small bump out at the front that you can see on the site plan that's hatched in red and it's got a square around it. That's where we have the 30 centimeters over our allowable. The front yard variance also, the way that the property works, it's kind of at a bit of an angle and curve there. It's a little funny. So on the one side, we've got 7.5 and on the other side, we've got 7.19. So kind of the average of that was the 7.3, but that middle bump out brought us to 7.08. Again, it works with the neighbors in terms of kind of stepping back. So again, I find this minor in nature. The side yard variance as well. On one side, on the south, we have a full 4-foot side yard variance, but on the north side, it really just taps the 4-foot mark in a couple of spots because of the angle of the property.
Okay, thank you.
Exactly. So
does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, I appreciated the explanation for variance number 1 on the lot coverage. And, really and truly, this application is self-explanatory. I think it's minor. It does meet the character of that area. And so I'll put forward a motion to approve this application as is.
Thank you. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Madam, your application's been approved without condition. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item number 27, 762 Glengrove Avenue. I have 2 people registered to speak. The agent is Ali Malekzadeh, Malekzadeh. Are you there, sir?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, hello, sir.
Good afternoon.
Can I get your full name and address?
My name is Ali Malekzadeh, and 236 Les Mills Road, Toronto, Ontario.
Thank you, sir. If you could give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal. I note that there are no staff comments or conditions attached to your file.
No problem, Mr. Chair. This application been in front of this committee before, back in I believe 2019. We approved for the coverage of 38.8%, and then that was only for a house. This time the owner increase the rear deck at the back of the house. If I can ask to bring the site plan that we propose, so we can discuss on that. Yes, exactly. So the changes compared with the main application and then the proposed building permit was the rear deck that we extended to the side, and because of the height of the deck and then encroachment to the rear yard, bylaw taking this one as part of the coverage. So the additional or extension of the coverage that we see in this application is just because of the deck. There is nothing with the house. House was approved for 38.8, and then there is no changes on that. It's only deck. And because of this deck and the cabana that we have in the backyard, also the soft landscaping is not meet the minimum requirement of the 50%. I'm just looking for the yes, that's these are the 3 variances that we are asking on this application. So is the encroachment of the rear deck, the coverage that is caused by the rear deck, and then the soft landscaping at the back. If there is any question, I can answer.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Malik, I will ask you about variance number 2 and 3 later, but I find your drawing A1 incomplete site plan. What do you say to that? I mean, I needed a lot coverage information, but the A1 is incomplete drawing.
Okay. Mr. Khan, is there a question there?
Sir, yes, the question is, I mean, there's a lot coverage variance number 3. How can I verify myself about variance number 3 unless the site plan is complete?
Sir, would you like to reply?
I can answer that. So we were being in back and forth with the zoning examiner. And so I think on the revised drawing that we were passing on, one of the title block or one of the sheet is missing. We have one more sheet on top of this that is showing all the site status. regarding to the site plan and then propose coverage. But this application was reviewed by the zoning examiner, and we had a back and forth to make sure that they have all the information. I'm sorry that we are missing this, Mr. Khan.
Okay, sir. Now I'm moving to my other question that I said I will ask variants 2 and 3. Both variances rear soft landscape, number 2, and number 3, lot coverage 42.2, 45.2. Both are more than the allowable. No justification for claiming minor variance. How do you justify?
As I mentioned and explained in my brief, the rear deck was extended after the building permit, and then that is causing because of the height of the deck is just calculated as part of the coverage, and then as a building coverage. So this is the requirement of the owner. That's what they living in. There is no other house in the back. Is all industrial unit behind this property. There is no impact on the next door neighbor or any other neighbor, and because of the backyard and the pool, the client wanted to have this extended deck at the back, and then that's how it's causing to both coverage and the second variance that we are asking.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kidd, do you have a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm kind of confused about this application. It's the purpose of the application on the public notice is to construct a new dwelling. But when I was on the site visit, I noticed the new house has already been built, and as far as I can tell, this application has more to do with the deck at the rear of the existing building. There's a previous decision, committee of adjustment decision, that had to do with an in-ground pool and a cabana, but never doesn't seem to be any application for the new dwelling. I'm curious how you got a building permit for the new house without committee of adjustment approval.
Mr. Kidd, this application was before this committee back in 2019, and for the main building. The building permit issue and the construction started and then is finished. As part of the construction and then during the construction, the rear deck was extended, and then also owner add the pool at the back. So there was a second committee of adjustment hearing was because of the pool at the back and then the cabana, and this variance is because of the rear deck construction and then the impact to the coverage and then the rear deck itself. So building permit was issued according to the first committee of adjustment we had, and was all the inspection was done. At the end, this is a change. We send the drawing back to the city, and then the zoning examiner review as part of the the original building permit. They review it, and then these are the variances just because of the rear deck.
Okay,
so that's why
sir,
we are in front of the committee now.
Sir, so really, to follow up on Mr. Kidd's question, the purpose of the application is not to construct a new dwelling. The purpose of the application is to legalize the rear deck, a cabana, and a pool. Is that correct?
Not the pool, just the rear deck.
Okay, so the purpose of the purpose of the application is to legalize the existing rear deck.
Yes.
Okay.
As constructed.
So I'll just ask Mr. Secretary Treasurer, should we change the purpose of the application? Okay. Yeah. Okay. We'll do that. Okay. So I've just got confirmation from the Secretary Treasurer will change the purpose of the application on the notice so that it's just to indicate that it's for the legalize the rear deck. Any further questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Angela Iozzo, I-O-Z-Z-O. Are you there? Angela, are you there?
Yes, I am. I have no comment. I wanted to observe and see how the committee would deal with this application. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. All right. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application? Please note that the purpose of the application is to legalize the existing rear deck. So if we could get a motion on this revised application, please. Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think the requested variances are minor, and I'll put forward a motion to accept the application without condition.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that. Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Khan dissenting. That motion carries. Sir, your application's been approved, subject to, actually, there are no conditions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're on item number 28, 10 Blythwood Crescent. I have two people registered to speak. No, one person registered to speak. That is the agent, Victor Guitberg, G-U-I-T-B-E-R-G. And that's item number 28, 10 Blythwood Crescent. Are you there, Victor?
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chair, committee members. My name is Victor Guitberg. I live in 33 Belvedere Crescent in Richmond Hill, Ontario. Okay, and I'm representing the owner of 10 Blythwood.
I have, just going through your file, I note that there are no staff comments or conditions attached to your application. You have one variance before us for coverage of ancillary buildings. It's pretty clear what you're asking for. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee, sir, that isn't contained in the material we have before us today?
Just the fact that we discussed this situation, this extra coverage with both neighbors of adjacent properties, and they both supported us. I think committee has the letters adjusted, attached to our file.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Through you, Mr. Chair, this is really minor in nature, and it does meet the 4 tests. I'll put through a motion to approve this application as is. Thank you.
Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Okay, thank you. We have item number 29, 127 Leecrest Road. I have, hang on. Item number 29, 127 Leecrest Road. I have Bill Dunphy or Deb Meadley.
Hello.
Are you there?
That's Bill Dunphy here.
Yes, hello. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Sure. I am the applicant and one of the homeowners. My name is Bill Dunphy at 127 Leecrest Road.
Okay, thank you, sir. Note you have one variance before us. It's for front yard setback to accommodate a bay window and a new porch. I went through your file, sir. I note that there's actually no staff recommended conditions or comments. The only thing I'd like to pass on to you, there was a advisory letter dated the 27th of October from Metrolinx, just advising you that your property is within 300 meters of the Metrolinx Don Branch subdivision. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. what you're asking for,
yes,
sir,
thank you.
What you're asking for is pretty straightforward, sir. Is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us today?
Thank you. I won't take up much of the committee's time at all, and won't repeat the materials that you have before you. I just wanted to explain that the reason for this renovation is it's part of a plan to allow my wife and I, who are both retired, to age in place in the home, and looking forward to the time when we will be living on one floor. The improvements are to our entrances to the house to make them safer for us and easier for our access. And as I say, to give us the room on the ground floor eventually that we can live on that one floor. The variance is very minor in nature. It doesn't alter the streetscape, will have no effect on pedestrian or traffic. And we feel it doesn't substantially increase the usage of the property at all. It's about a 3% increase to our floor space.
Okay, thank you,
and
sir.
It has unanimous neighbor support.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. I accept the explanations provided by the agent here today. There's no concerns with ravine and natural protection, as well as TRCA. The Metrolinx comments, I wouldn't put that into consideration, but there's also a couple of letters of really important support. So for that reason, I'm going to put forward a motion to approve this application as is.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Mr. Dunphy, your application's been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chair, and thank you to the committee.
We're now on item number 30, 60 Skyview Crescent. I have one person registered to speak. That's Andy Kabir, Sean Tusi, the agent. Sean, are you there?
Mr. Chair and members of the committee, my name is Sean Tusi. I'm the office principal at Mimar Architects Inc., representing the owner, Mr. Andy Kabir, who is also present here, and if needed, he would speak as well. But he's obviously in support of the application.
Okay, thank you, sir. I had just going through your report. I note there's a number of reports on file here. There's a Transportation Services report of the 27th of October that has no objection to your driveway location. There's a Ministry of Transportation Ontario Standard Corridor Control Permit, which has been issued. There's also a letter from Councillor Carroll dated the 31st of October, which has no objection to your application. But there isn't a letter, there is a comment from Urban Forestry, which is recommending refusing variance number 3 because it requires removing 3 privately owned trees. So if you'd like to perhaps give a little explanation to the committee with regards to that urban forestry comment, because I think it's pretty clear what you're asking for in your variances, but if I think you may want to give a little clarification on that urban forestry issue.
Yes, Mr. Chair, through you, we were in front of you actually some times ago, and we had the councillor planning and the urban forestry and had some comments. So we went back, we very closely worked with them all, including the urban forestry, and we have everybody's support. For urban forestry, apparently there's been a sort of a management change that caused a miscommunication between the time that we realized there is that letter. It was everybody's understanding, the owner as well as us, that the urban forestry is in fact in support. But we got the letter, we contacted them, we cleared a few things. So the owner has talked with Mr. David Wostock, as well as Derek, who is also working for him. David is the manager, and with a few a specification request that has nothing to do with the design, so it's not going to impact your decision, they are verbally confirmed that they will be willing to work with the owner. What I would recommend is, should the committee decide to approve the application, a condition of urban forestry would make sure that we go through the promises and we get the clearance of with them. But as mentioned, for this specific concern with urban forestry, from the date of the letter and now, there has been communication discussions between owner, their arborist, and the urban forestry, and it has been resolved. So a condition, I believe, would address any potential concerns that they might have.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Can I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Although there is no staff recommendations and transportation has no objection, I find these variances, all 7 of them, complying with the zoning bylaws, and they are minor in nature. Therefore, I move this application be approved with forestry conditions.
Thank you very much. Someone to second that? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application's been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you. We're now on item number 31. That is 28 Nash Drive. I have one person registered to speak. That's the agent. That is Din, D-I-N-H. Are you there?
Yeah, sir. Good afternoon. My name is Din. I'm at 5273 Pepper Crest. I'm representing client at 28 Nash Drive.
Okay, thank you, sir. Just going through your report, I note that, going through your file, I note that there is a city planning report on file here with your application. It's dated the 1st of November, which indicates they have no objections to your application, subject to a condition that the proposal is developed substantially in accordance with the left side elevation drawings submitted to the Committee of Adjustment attached as attachment 1 to their report. They had a previous report dated the 27th of October that was in error, and that's been modified to correct that, so consequently the 1st of November report. So it's pretty clear what you're asking for, sir. Is there anything that you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
No, there's nothing I want to add there.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A big difference from the side yard setback, 8 meters down to 0.59. I wonder if you had any discussion with the neighbor along that side, the neighbor at, looks like it's 30 Nash, 30, I'm not sure. Did you have any discussion, adjoining neighbor with regard to this application?
No, we haven't had any discussion, but I don't see any the issue because we have no window on that side. And the reason for that setback to be at 0.59 meter is because we propose one attached car garage. So the setback had to be at this point to be able to fit a car in the garage.
Okay, sir. Can I ask, the actual setback you have, that 0.58, that's basically the existing garage setback, is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. The existing garage is going to be demolished to be able to for the addition.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, I think that, I'm willing to accept the explanations provided by the agent here today. And staff being in support with a revised report gives me a bit of comfort that they're, not as concerned. So I'll put forward a motion to approve this application, and I'll make it subject to the November 1st staff report in that this application be developed substantially in accordance with the west left side elevation drawing that was submitted to the committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sanker. Someone to second that? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application is unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Sanker, if you could now take over the chair. I have a conflict with item number 32, which is 656 Oriole Parkway. So we're on that item now. Item number 32, 656 Oriole Parkway.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. So with this item's number 32, 656 Oriole Parkway, this is an application a proposal to construct a new 3-story single-family dwelling with integral garage. Now I'll just draw on Mr. Chu. Can you let me know how many speakers and if the agent is on there and whom is represented as the agent?
We have one person registered to speak, which is the owner, which is Sergey Lebedev, who is unmuted right now.
Okay.
Yes.
It might be Serge Lebedov.
Yes, Sergey Lebedev. My apologies. It's not that easy to pronounce.
That's not a problem. If Mr. Lebedov, if you can state again your address for the record, please.
Yes, it's 656 Oriole Parkway.
Okay, and sir, are you aware that there are a couple of reports that are noted on file, and that's number one, there is a staff report that is dated October 21st, asking that variance number 8 either be refused or that you do increase it to 59% regarding the front yard landscaping.
Yes, I am aware of this. And so basically during the consultation period, the city planner reached out to me and he raised his concerns. So we worked with him to resolve this issue. And yes, I agree to 59%. And I believe the committee already has our updated drawings that show the 59% soft landscaping ratio.
Okay, so just for the record, perhaps if you could just state that so that our staff can capture it in a formal sense. So please just tell me the changes you're making to your applications.
So yeah, variance number 8, instead of 41.58%, should now read 59%.
Right, so the variance number 8 is increased to the front yard soft landscaping area is increased to 59%, and no other changes noted for your application?
That's correct.
Okay, I wanted to also note that we do have urban forestry conditions that are on file. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I believe so. The problem is that there is a city tree that falls under my driveway. And I reached out to the Urban Forestry Department a long time ago, and I filed the permit to move the tree. And to the best of my knowledge, they provided their preliminary consent pending the Committee of Adjustments decision. So yes, I am aware of this condition as well.
And there is one letter of objection from a Megan Barrett that's a neighborhood stakeholder. And there's no one else, though, who's speaking to this application. And so I'll ask committee members if they require a presentation at this time. Is that Mr. Khan? Mr. Khan is asking for one. So if you wouldn't mind providing a brief presentation of the merits of your application for us, and then we can go into committee for decision making.
Okay, sure. So I would just to highlight a couple of things. So first of all, from the very beginning of this project, we tried to be good neighbors, and we tried to develop our house that will be in line with the rest of the street, and we didn't want to take any unfair advantage of the process or of our neighbors. And so in doing that, what we noticed about our neighborhood is that at least that part of the street where I live in, it has very narrow lots and shallow. And that, of course, presents some challenges to get enough living space. And I would like to know that this has become even more relevant in the recent years since people work from home now. Like in my case, for example, I work from home, my wife works from home. I have 2 kids of school age who need to do their homework. And on top of this, my parents recently moved to Canada, and they're not young. They don't speak English, so like they need to live at my place. And my current place, it's a 100-year-old house, and it just doesn't allow us to do that. And so what I also noticed on the street is that my need is not unique, and that 10-15 years ago, all new houses built on my street are either 3-story or 2.5 stories high. And like in my application, I have a couple of applications like from other houses to kind of prove the point that that's not a unique application. So I have I believe that would be just. So I have an application from 678 Oriole and from 695 Oriole, and they're both 3-story houses, flat roof, and it's been approved. But in addition to this, there is at least 7 houses that are 3-story high, and they have flat roof within like 400 meters from my house. So what I am saying is that this kind of build is not unique to the neighborhood. It's actually a norm for the neighborhood. And from that perspective, I believe my variances and my application overall is fully consistent with the rest of the street in terms of character and overall design and parameters.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Mr. Lebedev. Committee members, do you have any questions for? Yes, Mr. Khan.
Thank you, Madam. Mr. Lebedev, I heard you, and I have a little bit of a concern, which you will be kind enough to help me out. Sir, your variance number 3, the height of the building is 10.62, and variance number 4, number of stories 3, and variance number 5, FSI, is 0.99. Sir, these are very high. To give you the opportunity to have it, this is against the zoning bylaws and the official plan. Sir, how do you justify that I should give you approval for this?
Yes, I fully understand your concern, and what I believe what we also should look at is at the neighborhood, because I believe what we eventually want is to make sure that the new house is in line with the rest of the neighborhood, that it's not like a monster dominating the landscape, right, or the other way around. And from that perspective, I just want to get to my point that these kind of variances are normal for this neighborhood. So if I can, ask staff to show for variance number 3, for example, if I can ask staff to show 678 Oriole variance number 12. It's in my presentation. So if you scroll down a little bit. So yes, this first application, and then variance number 12. Variance number 12, if you scroll down. Yeah, so in this case, it was even higher. So what happens here is that it's a bit technical, I believe, because whether it's when it's a flat roof, then the zoning bylaw prescribes a lower height. If it's a scope roof, it's a bigger height that's allowed, but it doesn't really speak to like how building will actually feel. So in my case, what also happens is that the third floor is shifted inside the house. So it's not really gonna dominate the landscape. It's gonna be inside, and you don't fully see it from the street. So it's not going to feel like it's a 3-story house. And again, it's consistent with other buildings on the street. So if the staff can please go to the very last slide in my presentation. The very last one.
Thank you.
Okay.
So that answers your, okay, I'll just let Mr. Lebedev finish his comment on this one.
Yeah, sorry. So I just wanted to show this house. It's not my house apparently, but it's a house just a few houses away from mine. And I just wanted to show you what it's going to look like. That's kind of exactly the concept I have. Like the third floor is shifted inside. So when you look at it, you don't really feel like it's any higher than neighboring houses. That's all I have. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Mr. Khan, so you see he's trying to demonstrate that this may meet the character of the neighborhood. Is there any other questions you or other members have of Mr. Lebedev at this time? Okay, there being none and no other speakers around this application, members, please note that there are 9 variances. Variance number 8 has been increased to meet the staff report of 59%. And this is also forestry conditions do apply. With that in mind, can I get a motion, please? Mr. Hunt, Member Hunt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Having listened to the explanation from the owner, and the fact that he has had discussions with planning department and has made the specific change they requested, I would move approval of this application subject to the October 27th planning report, wherein he had indicated a revision of variance 8, the front yard landscaping from 41.58 to 59%. And also that the provision that the property be developed substantially in accordance with the revised site plan drawing, which was attached to that report, and also subject to the October 27th urban forestry requirement.
Okay, a motion received from Member Hunt on approving this application, making it subject to the conditions of the October 21st staff report and forestry. Can I get someone to second this motion, please? Seconded by Member Kidd. All those in favor? All those dissenting? Member Khan noted as dissenting. Mr. Lebedev, your application has been approved with those conditions. Thank you, and I invite our regular chair, Mr. Smithers, to come back. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you, and
Sankar.
have a nice day, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. We are now on item number 33, which is 284 Glencairn Avenue. We have 9 people registered to speak. The agent is David Eigelman. Are you there, sir?
Good afternoon, Sir Chair and committee members. David Eagleman, 900 the East Mall Suite 300, planner here on behalf of the owners.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm just going through your file. I note that there's a city planning report here dated the 1st of March, which recommends reducing variance number 2 regarding the proposed building length from 18.98 meters to 18.52 meters or less. There are no other staff comments associated with your application. I just wanted to ask, sir, did you Have you read that report, and would you like to make that reduction as recommended by city planning?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I have read that report previously, and we did make that revision prior to the previous committee hearing. So the public notice already accurately reflects that revision for this hearing today. And through you, Mr. Chair, I want to add that on the floor here today, I would also like to delete variance number 5.
That's the proposed rear yard setback for the ancillary building?
Correct, Mr. Chair.
So variance number 5 is being deleted. And I note that variance number 2, as described in the current notice, is the proposed building length is 18.52 meters. So thank you very much for pointing that out. In view of the fact that we have other speakers, sir, if you'd like to give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your application. I understand there has been revisions from the previous application. You may want to advise the committee what those changes are.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So I will note that this application has previously been deferred twice. The initial deferral was in order to consult further with planning staff, and the second deferral was in order to consider further revisions as a result of concerns that were expressed by the neighbors. And I have reviewed the number of objection letters submitted by the neighbors. I understand that a lot of the neighbors have been expressing that we have not consulted directly with them. However, I will note that we were very well aware of their concerns as they all submitted.
Is just one of them talking? They probably both. I'm sorry. Sorry, Mr. Engelman.
No problem. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, yes, as I was saying, the neighbors were mentioning that they have not been consulted directly. However, we were well aware of their concerns, considering that most of the neighbors in objection have submitted objection letters either for the first hearing or the second hearing. So while we perhaps didn't speak with them directly, we were well aware of their concerns, and we made numerous revisions in an attempt to satisfy them, as well as revisions to satisfy planning staff, and we have satisfied planning staff. And specifically, we reduced the length, we reduced the FSI, we eliminated a setback variance for a rear canopy, and we also eliminated today the ancillary building setback. So with that, I will just quickly touch on the variances. So the proposed height of 7.82 meters will result in a dwelling that is very similar in height to the eaves of the sloped roof dwellings within the neighborhood, as well as the height of other flat roof dwellings in the neighborhood as well. Sloped roof dwellings in this neighborhood are permitted at 10 meters, so the proposal will still be 2.18 meters, or just over 7 feet in height, less than what an as-of-right sloped roof dwelling is permitted to be at in this neighborhood. Additionally, a recent OLT decision, which has not come into effect yet, but has been issued and is with the city to finalize, will increase the permitted height on the subject property for flat roofs to 8.5 meters, and will increase the height for sloped roofs to 11 meters. So in the future, sloped roof dwellings within this neighborhood will be at a height of 11 meters as of right. Regarding the length, we have revised this to 18.52 as per the recommendation from planning staff in order to satisfy them, and they are satisfied. And I would like to bring the committee's attention to the proposed first floor plan. I will keep speaking just for the sake of time, but if staff could pull the first floor plan up. What is shown on the first floor plan is that the proposed building length variance is measured from the front entrance foyer bump out on the front main wall to the rear main wall. But excluding that front entrance foyer, the length is actually 17.55 meters, which is only 55 centimeters greater than what is permitted as of right. Additionally, the subject property is a deep lot, with it is a deep lot with 52.99 meters of depth, which makes it difficult to perceive an increase in the building length as compared to an as-of-right dwelling. The proposal is also compliant with front yard and rear yard landscaping requirements, front and rear yard setbacks, as well as the maximum permitted building depth, which demonstrates that the building length will be in keeping with the existing character of the neighborhood. Regarding the FSI, the additional massing proposed will be distributed over 2 floors, and the resulting dwelling will be in keeping with the existing character. The proposed FSI results in an increase of only 0.115 times the area of the lot over what is permitted as of right, and the massing will be broken up with architectural features on all sides of the dwelling. And the proposed FSI will be in keeping with a number of previous approvals within the neighborhood. I will just list a couple of them. 278 Glencairn approved at 0.53 times. 295 Glencairn approved at 0.585 times. 296 Glencairn approved at 0.525 times. 211 Glencairn approved at 0.5. And I have more, but I won't get into them for the sake of time. And in regards to the setbacks, they are only deficient by 25 centimeters on the west side and 29.
Can you summarize?
Yes. Based on the provided justification, I'm of the opinion that this proposal fits in with both the existing and planned context, is consistent with the redevelopment trends along Glencairn Avenue and the broader neighborhood.
Okay, thank
and for
you.
these reasons, I believe this application represents
sir.
good planning. Thank you.
Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person on the list. I have a John Kingdom or Susan Joyce. Are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes. Are you John Kingdom?
Yeah, my name is John Kingdom. I'm at 282 Glencairn Avenue. I would like Brenda McNesson to speak first on behalf as a technical presenter for us. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry. Can you? I missed that. Can you run that by me again?
Yeah. Can you please ask Brenda McNesson to speak first? Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. I have a Brenda McNesson. Are you there? Brenda McNesson.
Yes.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, my full name is Brenda McNesson. I live at
Madam, before you
450
start,
St.
there is an echo on your end. Do you have? Can you just speak into your phone? Turn off all your other audio devices.
Yeah, Brenda, it's currently showing that you both have a headset as well as a phone connected. If you could only use one for this purposes of the hearing, in order to prevent the echo.
Okay, let me try to do that. How is that? Is that better?
Seems to be. Can I get
Okay,
your
very
name and
good.
address, please?
Yeah, my name is Brenda McNesson. I live at 450 St. East in Toronto.
Okay. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Well, my thoughts are, as a principle, this is now the third time that a great many people have taken time to speak against this application. And I, as a start, feel as though that's quite exceptional. Specifically, though, some of the things that were just presented, I have some exception with. For example, the height of the building. If you'll see on my letter, the drawing 3B, the height of the building will not be in line with the eaves of 282. It will be well above that. And it seems unnecessary to allow for the additional extra height in that variance. Likewise, there are many implications for allowing the variance for the side elevation. It's a very small variance, but it seems quite unnecessary when you consider that many of the other typical houses on that street, although the requirement is only 1.5 meters. Most of these buildings are quite a bit larger than that, and as they move to the back of the garden, they are 5 and 6 meter setback. So although the letter of the law is the 1.5 meter setback, it seems unnecessary in this situation to push that envelope again. It seems completely possible to do this building within the required bylaws. I have great objection with the interpretation of the overall length of the building, which actually with the cantilevered balcony and the decorative vertical aspect of the design is going to make the overall building 13 meters deeper than the proposed or the allowable. And it is, if you look at the drawing in my letter 3B, you can see the actual coverage of the mass of this building is 85% greater in surface area than the existing buildings on the street. And it's simply unnecessary. Yes, there are deep lots, but it's an unnecessary for the mass of this building to be so large, which is entirely because there's a very large open to grade space on the interior. The other very important consideration, which I don't know if the committee has the opportunity to address, but the area that this building holds grade with the very large basement walkout, which is going to require careful underpinning to not damage the garage of my clients at 282, means that the area, the built area of this proposal is massive in comparison to all the other properties. There is a storm runoff problem, and as an absolute minimum, if this project is approved, I would ask that the committee requires a condition that on the top of this flat roof, there is a green roof, fully functioning green roof. The issue of the second floor balcony, I think, has also never been properly addressed. It's simply a line on the drawing. The cantilevered balcony is 20 square feet, yet there's simply a line that shows the balcony as a smaller area. So in fact, the changes that have happened to this project have been really very small. The fifth minor variance has only come about because the ancillary building taken from 10 feet down to 8'2". Other than that, nothing else has happened. Nothing else has. And I feel as though the whole point of these applications and opportunities to speak is for a building to evolve, and this has not.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person on the list. I have a John Kingdom or Susan Joyce.
I'm here. Susan Joyce may come. My name is John Kingdom, and I live next door at 282 Glencairn Avenue.
Okay, if you'd like to
This is a third attempt.
If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Yes, this is a third attempt with very insignificant changes and absolutely no consultation at all directly by the owners of this building with the neighbours around the area, which you did, Mr. Chairman, reprimand these people in March, and they have taken no action to communicate with us. There are 11 letters of objection by neighbours, and there are, for the record, not a single letter of support for this monster box home. It is clearly not in keeping, as on the picture here, with the architecture of the area. This is a square box imposed on us, taking down a 1920s Centre House brick home. I would like the committee to be aware that since we've lived here in 2000, a total of 7 properties around us have been renovated, keeping their front and sides, and these are specifically on the north side at 286, 288, and 290 Glencairn, and on the south side at 255, 257, 259, and 285 on the south side. So architecturally, I would have no problem with the owners renovating the property and extending back, but to destroy the architectural character of our section of Glencairn is totally unacceptable to me. The length and the height of this building deprive us of our light. As one of the members writing a letter says, this is actually theft, okay? We will lose all of our light in our back garden. And why? Simply because somebody wants to build, by speculation, a maximum profit home to sell and move on. As another person objecting in the 11 letters said, this is an iceberg house. What will this iceberg do? It's going to displace water into the homes across the street. And you have clear objectional letters from 2 people who lived on the street for a long time who have battled basement water in their homes directly facing this proposition.
Sir, the committee doesn't deal with lot drainage issues. I would suggest that...
I think it's relevant because of the size of the property.
Let me finish. So if this application is approved, they have to submit a lot drainage plan to the satisfaction of the city that shows that the stormwater is handled on their own property. So we don't consider that issue, so I would suggest that you confine your remarks to the variances requested, because we do not deal with...
Well, I will continue then. I will continue. How is it possible to build this home with a setback of 1.25 meters beside my driveway? How on earth, when the concrete foundation is poured, do they expect to actually construct without going onto our property? The main thing that I'm concerned with is straight theft of our privacy and our light. This balcony upstairs has not been properly discussed. It is actually way bigger than they say. They're alluding to a small balcony. They want to put a big, massive cantilevered balcony across and make the property much bigger than they say. They're not telling you the truth. And I do know this committee has the experience and the wisdom to understand what is at stake here. What's at stake here is the imposition of a massive monster box amongst neighbours who are objecting in large numbers consistently every time. In March, we didn't go away in May. We're not going away now. We are loud and clear as 11 people, and there are nothing in support. And, Mr. Chairman, these owners never singly on one occasion ever came to consult with anybody. That is on the record.
True.
No, the owners of the building as listed, the individuals listed as the owners have never come to speak to anybody, and it's stated as such by many members who have written letters of objection. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I have a Susan Joyce. Are you there?
My husband already spoke on behalf of 282 Glencairn Avenue. Yes, we've lived here for a long time, and my main concern is to do with the soft landscaping in the backyard and the huge floor surface, floor space index, which will reduce the water runoff. I understand it's not your concern. The mature trees in the backyard, especially one blue spruce, is also of concern to us. The character of the building, I agree with John, of course, is not in sympathy with the other houses in this street. And although there has been precedent of bigger buildings, as the agent discussed, it is really only 2 out of 17 houses on our side, the north side of Glencairn, that have these big FSIs. The very large building mass, this proposal is to the west of us. The very large building mass will significantly alter our enjoyment of our home, because we will have a very big wall obstructing west sunlight to our west, and that will significantly and drastically alter the enjoyment and the ambience of our home. So on behalf of myself and my neighbours, I do object to this proposal. I don't feel that the variances are minor, and I do feel that the character of the home is not in sympathy with the many, many other century homes on this street. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Mary O'Riordan. Are you there? Mary O'Riordan.
here we are. Can you hear me now?
Yes, hello. Can I get your full name and address, please?
So I'm Mary O'Riordan, and I live at 287 Glencairn on the south side of the street.
Okay, thank you, madam. If you could give us your thoughts on this application, and madam, if you would, please don't repeat material we've already heard.
No, I'll try not to repeat. So I suppose in my letter, I'm talking about size and sunlight, and I feel dreadful because we have neighbors on either side of us here on our property who haven't done that to us. They've renovated. They have plans to renovate. The sunlight is, I think, for me, I'm not from Toronto, but I think the sunlight is the most precious thing that we have here. I've complained about water, and I see that that's not your responsibility. But yeah, to me, if you want a garden, it's a pleasure to have that garden, and I just feel dreadful for the two neighbors across the street who are close friends of ours on both sides of this house that they're being robbed of that. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Linda Bradger or Mark Bradger, B-R-A-G-E-R. Are you there?
I am here.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, it's Mark Brager. I'm at 267 Glencairn Avenue.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The point I want to make above all to me is that an application with a floor space index that's 33% over the prescribed limit is hardly minor in nature. This is a massive exploitation of this property, of this lot, and the applicant proposes to really overbuild and overwhelm the property. The massing that the direct neighbors, Mr. Kingdom, whom you heard from before, Dr. Kingdom, you would appreciate that the massing that he has to deal with, that he and his wife have to deal with, is incredible because this building is so large and so tight to the limits of the property that it is really unreasonable. Just because the agent for the applicant says that this property is in keeping with the neighboring lots, that doesn't make it so just because he says it. To me, it is not in keeping. It is a massive overbuild, and I would urge the committee to reject this application. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? We'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Dave O'Connor. Are you there? Dave O'Connor, are you there?
Dave, you've been unmuted.
Dave O'Connor, are you there? Mr. O'Connor, are you there? Alex, we'll go to the next person on the list. We'll come back to Mr. O'Connor. Joan Eakin, E-A-K-I-N, are you there?
Hello?
Yes, hello. Can I get your full name and address, please?
My name is Joan Eakin, and I live at 283 Glencairn, across the street from the proposal.
If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application, madam?
Well, first of all, I totally endorse what Brenda McNeeson said in her opening presentation, and I completely agree with what my other neighbors have been saying. So in the interest of not repeating what they have said, I merely offer my endorsement for them. I just want to add a couple of small things that are a bit different, perhaps. I share, obviously, the concern that the owners have not genuinely tried to consult with the neighborhood, with neighbors, and I feel that these three attempts have been just abusing the process by asking for the same thing fundamentally each time. Furthermore, I think that the variances, I agree with Mark Brager and others who have said that they're not minor at all, and not just individually they're not minor, but I feel that collectively, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, and I feel collectively it is a structure that is not a minor variation from the street as well. It is too big and too inconsistent. I think the variances are detrimental to the neighborhood. The green space in particular, relentless taking over of green space in this area of town, on this street, in this neighborhood, and this house will do that. I totally understand the committee's need to support variances to bring in emerging policies of densification and diversification. I'm not against any of those things, but I feel very strongly that variances that are to enable the construction of environmentally assaultive mega houses should not be treated the same way as ones that are trying to align with new policies for our housing crisis. So I don't see a justification for allowing these variances. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person I'll go back to Mr. O'Connor. Dave O'Connor, are you there? Okay, all right. I'll go to the next person. Kamal Pastakia, Pastakia. Are you there? Are you there, Kamal?
Yeah. So did I just...
Hello, can I get your full name and
can you hear me?
address?
Sure. Kamal Pastakia, 269 Glengrove Avenue West.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Yeah, I live immediately to the rear of this property. My only observation is that there are trees there, and I note that there's a statement in the planning file suggesting that there are no trees that might need protection, and I'd like you to have Urban Forestry look at that.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any other comments on the development?
No.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go back to Mr. O'Connor. Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can I get your full name and address?
Yeah, my name's Dave O'Connor. I live at 285 Glencairn, directly across the street.
Okay, if you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, apologies for whatever happened with my computer. I don't know what that was. Thank you for giving me a chance to speak. I won't repeat what other people have said, but I do want to draw special attention to one particular issue, variance number 3, concerning an increase of the floor space index. The variance increasing the variance in excess of 30% can in no way be described as minor. The City of Toronto in October of 2019 declared a climate change emergency. The city cited a variety of innovative actions that have been taken and suggested many more were to come. If the city truly believes there's a climate emergency, why would it grant variances of this sort? Paving over green space is clearly counter to the concerns of all citizens, not just immediate neighbors. While I don't question the city's desire to fight climate change, I question the common sense behind pursuing grand schemes when the greatest impact could be made by simply enforcing existing bylaws and building codes at no cost to citizens. I spent 33 years as the owner and operator of a reforestation company. During that time, my team planted roughly 2 billion trees. I find it very discouraging that so much effort by so many people is undermined by the actions of individuals whose sole motivation appears to be greed. There may well be precedent for similar homes being built in the past, but I hope that as the world changes and as we are facing an emergency, we can start making the right decisions going forward. I urge you to take guidance from the Hippocratic Oath sworn by physicians as they graduate from medical school. Above all, do no harm. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go back to Mr. Eagleman. Mr. Eagleman, are you there?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, you've heard the comments from the previous speakers. If you'd like to address them.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll try and address as many as possible. So I'd just like to start with the fact that a number of the neighbors have brought up that this is the third time this application is coming in front of the committee, which is true. We deferred previously twice in order to further consult with city staff and address concerns that were expressed by the neighbors. And I can tell you, as a professional planner, I always advise my clients to consult with the neighbors. I can't say for certain if that was the case, but what I can say is that a number of the neighbors here today who are objecting to the proposal submitted letters of concern or objection to the previous two applications. So I was well aware of their concerns, and I did advise my client to make revisions to the proposal, which we did in an attempt to address their concerns. So it is not factual to say that we are coming back today with the exact same variances. Like I said at the outset of my presentation, we have reduced the length, we have reduced the FSI, we've eliminated a setback for a rear canopy, and we have today eliminated a setback for an ancillary building. So we have made revisions, and they are significant, and the planning staff is satisfied with those revisions. In terms of the overall height, as I said again in my presentation, sloped roof dwellings are permitted at 10 meters in this neighborhood. So the proposal will still be 2.18 meters less than what is permitted for a sloped roof dwelling as of right. That is not even considering the height approvals in the neighborhood for sloped roof dwellings. So this flat roof dwelling will be well below sloped roof dwellings and will be in keeping with both the sloped roof and flat roof dwellings in the neighborhood. In regards to some of the comments that Mrs. McNeeson mentioned, I question the validity of some of the numbers she mentioned because we have a zoning review that was issued by the city. I am not sure how she is interpreting that the building has an overall length of 13 meters greater than what is permitted. We have a building length variance, and that length variance is reflective of the proposed building length. In terms of the coverage, she also mentioned that the coverage is 85% greater than what is permitted. The property is not subject to a maximum coverage number, so that is incorrect as well. In regards to some of the questions about drainage and those concerns, I understand, Mr. Chair, you mentioned that that is not in the purview of the committee, and I thank you for that, but I will also note that we are compliant with all landscaping requirements, which demonstrates that we are providing open space and space for stormwater management that is in keeping with the intent of the zoning bylaw. Some concerns were brought up about a balcony. There are no variances pertaining to any balcony. And in regards to the massing of the dwelling and the FSI, there are a number of approvals. I just went through a few in my initial presentation, but there are many approvals for FSI within this neighborhood that are at or larger than what we are requesting. And this dwelling will be in keeping with that character of the neighborhood. These are large lots, there are large homes in the neighborhood, and this dwelling will be in keeping with that character. So I will just note that we've made a number of revisions in an attempt to satisfy the neighbors and planning staff. We did satisfy planning staff, and right now we are dealing with 4 minor variances. And lastly, I'll just touch on the side yard setback, which I did not get to touch on in my initial presentation. I will just say that the existing lot frontage of the property is 15.24 meters. And the side yard setback requirement of 1.5 meters is applicable to any property with a frontage of 15 meters to less than 18. So we're at the end of that range. And on a lot that's at the top of that range, the required setbacks would result in 17% of the width of the lot being allocated to side yards, and we will be at 16% of the width of the lot being allocated to side yards. Yes, that's it, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Please note that before you make your consideration that variance number 5 has been deleted. So we're only dealing with 4 variances. So if I could get a motion on this revised application, please. Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It is certainly a contentious application and one I struggle with. In the end, I think I'm going to rely on the planning staff report, where I think the application, as has been amended, has resulted in an appropriate compromise for this property, and given the fact that there's no opposition from the planning staff, I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the amended application. The application amended to delete variance number 5. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Have someone to second Mr. Kidd's motion? Mr. Khan seconds that motion. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Hunt and Ms. Sank are opposed. That's a tie vote, and I'll support Mr. Kidd's motion. That motion carries. Sir, your application has been approved. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Have a good afternoon, and
Thank
committee
you.
members.
Ladies and gentlemen, that ends our meeting. Thank you very much. Enjoy your evening. Committee members, I'll pass a motion to adjourn for the evening. Great to see you again. You guys take it easy. We'll talk soon. Bye now.